Welcome to the Investec Jewish Achiever Awards 2025. To kick off proceedings, please welcome to stage Chair of the Jewish Achiever Awards Organizing Committee, Howard Sackstein.
I think when you watch that video of everything that happened in the world in the last year since last we met, you realize that some weeks feel like years, and maybe some years feel like weeks. And we're just a bunch of ordinary people living in very extraordinary times. I don't want to be the person who stands between you and the food on your table. So while I talk, no one's going to tell you to eat, but I suggest you strongly do because that food is delicious. In a few weeks from now, here in Johannesburg, the G20 is going to meet and begin their very heady discussions. It will be a tsunami of words. It will be competition for media space. It will be competition for a photo opportunity. It will be a perfect little bubble in a sea of decay. Because outside the plushness of their five-star hotels, the real South Africa will be waiting behind. The traffic lights that won't work. The poor who are starving, the unemployed youth who will never find a job, a government paralyzed by corruption, and 27,000 South Africans will be murdered in their home this year. That is the bitter reality of the South Africa we all live in. This is not the country we want, and it's certainly not the country that we deserve. And so, all of us gathered here tonight, these privileged few, have a choice to make. Do we want to accept that reality? Or do we maybe want to use our means and our resources and our will and our power and our determination to actually make a change, to create Nzamzi strong? A strong nation. You know, people tell us that the Jewish community has bad PR. They tell that to us in a way as if public relations matter more than even reality. But tonight, for those people who dare to watch us, we're going to pierce that veil a little. Draw back the curtain. Give people a glimpse of the sort of work that we as a community do in South Africa. We are going to tell 11 remarkable stories. People who have led and built our nation. People who are extraordinary. People unique and exceptional. And over the last 26 years of the Jewish Achiever Awards, we have told hundreds of these stories. And in truth, our community has hundreds, if not thousands more of these stories still to tell. You know, Yuval Harari, who's probably the greatest thinker of the modern era, tells us that human history progresses by us telling stories. The first great story, the story of God, allowed us to live in a rules-based society where we had to behave for fear of divine retribution and the promise of a better life ahead. The story of money, that somehow a coin or a piece of paper had value, and I no longer had to barter my horse for your corn. And that allowed trade to happen and human society to progress. And after the dark days of the Second World War, we hit on a new story, a story of human rights, that somehow each person had the obligation to treat someone with dignity and respect and to provide people with opportunities in the world. You know, when we as a community tell our stories, sometimes the problem that we have is that we don't have a sticker. We don't have something that says Intel inside, the Jewish community inside. We don't tell people that it is us behind the engine of good in so much that we do. And so I want to use my position here tonight, this platform that we have, to maybe talk about a few of the things that our community does. Maybe I'll talk about some of the winners who we've awarded Jewish Achiever Awards to over the last few years, and maybe some that will receive awards in the future. But why don't we start maybe with Operation Hunger? For those of you who are alive in the 1980s, 2 million people were fed every day by an organization co-started by the Union of Jewish Women and led by Ina Pearlman. And then the years that followed, the people who continued after that. Ikhamva Labantu in the Western Cape, led by Helen Lieberman, a past winner, touches the lives of 32,000 people every single day, running 486 preschools in Khayelitsha, 28 after-school centers, 17 senior clubs. Or how about Africa Tikkun, led by Mark Lubner, which from cradle to career, 45,000 people are touched every single year, running the best early childhood education programs in South Africa, 20,000 people in our schools, and 9,000 people placed in jobs, and training people after school in computers, in maths, in hospitality, in agriculture, in fish farming. That is just one example, because the Michelle Scholarship Foundation has graduated 1,275 people with their bursaries through South African universities. The Kaplan Kushlik Foundation, 727 scholarships given to graduates in South Africa. The Michelle's put a computer into every single home, into every single school in KwaZulu-Natal. The Angel Network in the last 10 years has fed 30 million meals. Kaya Lamb, who are here this evening, whether it was the Feldmans, the Saxes, the Markmans, have given title deeds to 21,000 families in South Africa so they can have title deeds to their own homes. Sivanya Ari, sitting here in this audience, has provided clean, fresh drinking water to 1 million South Africans and 6 million people on the continent of Africa. Taddy Blecher has given 21,000 underprivileged black South Africans a free university education. Robbie Brosen, what you at your team of Josie Majosi has redone to reimagine what Johannesburg could look like, or whether it's the Tracy and David Frankel Foundation and the work that they've done in the Next Up project in the Olivenleidsbosch in Tshwane, or the JNF, which runs the best environmental education systems in South Africa and put food gardens down in Mamelodi, or the Kirschers, who have more projects than anyone could enumerate in this country, or the Victor Dates Foundation, which is the second largest charitable trust in South Africa. Do you want me to go on? Because I tell you, I've got all night here. I've not yet spoken about what the Ichikavitzes have done for this country. It is unbelievable. And I haven't told you how CAP has fought crime in Johannesburg and tackled organized crime and made all of Johannesburg safe for us. Or maybe Cap Green, the people who come and paint your roads and mow the lawns outside your home and fix up the parks in your community. We haven't even mentioned them. Or what about Alt? They're all people here tonight who've created the educational system, the STEM curriculum for maths and science and computer studies in our schools. Or the Gordon family and Wendy Applebaum, who built us hospitals and art galleries and business schools and funded our universities. That is the work that we as a community do. We have nothing to be ashamed of. And I hope you're not getting bored, because I'm only just getting started. Our community has done more in real terms for South Africa and the lives of South Africans than anyone else. And I say this with no hesitation. I say this because I think we have the message to the people in power. Do not take us for granted. We do what we do out of love for our country, but our love cannot be unrequited. Don't do anything that allows our love to fade. And so, Chief Rabbi, Rabbonim, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and most importantly, all of you who've gathered here tonight. Tonight is dedicated to all those people who want to make Mzansi strong. All those people who want to live in a better country, in a better society. We dedicate tonight to you. And the strengths that make Mzansi strong are our partnerships. Our partnerships with those people who want to build a better country, a better society, one that tackles its problems and most importantly, gives opportunity to everyone. And that is why we're so delighted to welcome a new partnership, a partnership with Investec Bank. Investec have been my personal bank for the last 25 years. And at the pre-breakfast for this event, which we had on Friday, I explained to everyone why I'm an evangelist for the bank. Because I believe that every South African should be privileged to experience the level of service that I get as a client from that bank. But more importantly, it was a bank started by 5 young Jewish entrepreneurs who had the chutzpah, the gumption, that they could take on the entire banking world. And look what they have built. Look what that Investec brand means around the world. The best of South African service. An icon around the world. You know, in the days that I was a lowly clerk, Lucky Kaplan, who is now chairman of Investec Private Bank, had the office a few down from me at Worksman's. And he would occasionally invite me into his office and make me tea, for which I am enormously grateful. 2 doors down from me on the other side was another partner of Worksman's who you will see tonight will be receiving one of our most remarkable awards. But the warmth and friendship with Lucky, who has flown all the way from the United States to be here this evening, is amazing. And it's been replicated with people like Fani Titi and Kumesh Mudlia and Nick Riley and Leslie Ann Gatta and so many others of the Investec team who's sitting here tonight. Those bonds are deep and they're meaningful. And so we thank Investec for their sponsorship, from being our title sponsor this evening. But we have other thanks to do as well. I want to thank our 5 panels of judges who sifted through thousands and thousands of pages of submissions, interviewed 97 nominees out of the 818 people who were nominated for these awards. I thank them. I thank our organizing committee, our event planners, our suppliers, our video production team, our technical staff, and to the CSO and Hatzola who are keeping us safe tonight, our enormous gratitude. More than 250 people are working here tonight to make sure that your evening is spectacular. But these awards are a family, and we share our DNA with some of our sponsors who have been with us for so many years. The Ellerin family, the Labner family, the Kirsch family, the Chekhovitz family, the Mann family, Europcar, Sydney Back Wines, Diageo, and Johnny Walker. All of you are the magic ingredients that makes tonight so special and, more importantly, so meaningful for us, for our community. And so tonight is not about public relations. Tonight is an evening of storytelling. It tells the story of how a small little segment of South African society, unencumbered by its size, has had a profound impact on the lives of every South African. It's a story of heroes and of role models, an inspiring tale of how we make Mzansi strong. That's my dream. I too have a dream. But in truth, any dream will do. I thank you for joining us this evening.